got to tell y'all about this thing called life. You know I got to share it. See, there's this thing called life. I got to tell y'all. Well, first I'll introduce us, right? I'll do the whole spiel or however you say it, and then I'll click speaker after that. So, you know, I'm very excited to see all these beautiful faces right here.
So, do you go,
So,
is it Adrian or Adrian?
Whichever. Mostly it's Adrian, but Adriana is
Adrian.
fine.
Okay, Adrian. Okay, very good to meet you, Adrian.
Likewise.
and this is Debbie. Debbie, this is Adrian.
We met.
Hey.
Okay, cool. So, like I was, me and Lupita were talking, right? And I had just a ton of downloads, right? So this feels very different, right? Now I understand. I guess I didn't really even fully grasp why I was being called to do this, right? It feels like they're calling this a cosmic conference. They asked me to open it up to beings of all dimensions, beings from the underworld, beings from this world, beings from the celestial realms. When I had this, I was in a meditation, right? I was in a meditation, and it was almost like I could see through a hole, right? Everything was dark, but I was peeping through a hole, and it looked like a Mayan man sitting, almost like he was guarding while we were having this. So we are protected in this space, but if anyone feels uncomfortable, or I ask, maybe Lupita can guide us through, a little extra protection while we open it up. But if anyone feels uncomfortable, please feel free to speak up with opening it up to maybe beings that we're not aware of or that we're not used to interacting with, right? Um, but I've been asked to open it up, right? Almost like a conference, think of an actual conference. There might be someone that you don't necessarily get along with, but they're invited to the conference too, right? That's how I was shown, right? And in this space, yeah, I was at a temple. It started all these doors. From what I understood, there was 13 chambers that I walked through. It almost looked like a Stargate, and I even heard names, right? I heard Lupita La Guerrera, right? I heard Adrian the Builder from the Wasp people. I heard Debbie the Wise, right?
Mhm.
If this doesn't ring true, you don't have to take it right as truth for yourself. But these are the names they gave me. Um, I saw two jaguars. I saw a black jaguar walking towards me, and also the leopard jaguar. I mean with the spotted jaguar.
Mhm.
And yeah, and I guess the wasp, and the wasp is very noble. So hopefully you don't feel like the wasp is any kind of character. I don't know which jaguar was which between Debbie and Lupita, the black or spotted one. But I'm guessing I didn't see another one because maybe I was seeing all this, right?
Mhm.
But we were in a jungle at a temple, and whatever dimension this was in, this is what was going on. I think that's kind of so that's the purpose for it, right? So how does everyone feel about that?
Well, if I can say some things.
Absolutely.
So on my
Absolutely.
time right now, it's 3:13. Okay, 13. You talked about the 13.
Mm,
Okay, so that's a very significant number, especially, of course, to the Maya too. That's a very sacred number. It represents spirit. And so I I've never met Debbie, I've never met Adrian, but you guys feel familiar. So like there's a soul knowing, there's a soul recognition, and I know that we're brought together by a hand greater than ourselves. And I think that when we talk about when we're opening up into potentially communing or communicating with energies that we might not have been familiar with, because the four of us come together with our own energy, and then together we're creating a vibration of our own. And so you might work with spirits and things that I am not familiar with, and vice versa. And so that's why it could be potentially unfamiliar. But I lift this up into truth that the truly the realm that I choose and choose to work with, as you said, that pinhole is that we're looking at a grid beyond this false illusion. And that's what I see that we are connecting into, and that we're connecting into the purity of truth. And so if we are los guerreros, la sabiduría, Okay, and like so wisdom, truth. I forgot what you talked about,
Builder.
Adrian, the builder. Okay. So then, and what was yours?
Mine's they called me an ancient one.
The ancient one. So I know that we are called to this moment to share each of what we have, and I lift it up into the highest truth. And that's what I feel that we are here to speak of, rather than the illusion, rather than any other false realms, anything attempting for fear, because that those realms do exist and they float and they misguide. And I put a barrier around that. And so that like lifting up this into like creating a sacred place outside of time and space where there's a reflective bubble and the energy of truth and of the purest can come through. That's what I choose to connect with in today. And I don't know how that feels to you guys. And please share too.
No. Oh, I second that. Let me see. Yeah, how does everyone feel about that?
Feel good.
Share your own thoughts.
I feel potentially called to today. I had messaged Omar about it leading up to it, and through a series of synchronicities, there was something important about saying yes to this engagement and making sure that everything falls into place so that I'm here. And so, for me and my perspective leading up to today in this moment was being divinely guided and held the entire time, undeniably, and having it echo to make sure, like, even if I hit the snooze button, it's coming back around again. So I'm getting another reminder.
Mm.
And so this all feels right, even though I wasn't entirely certain what the premise of the meeting would be today up until now. So I'm finding all this out right now, which is awesome. There's no better way than being in the present moment, right? So I've had some experiences too, some that I've shared with Omar, some not. But leading up to today, there's been a lot going on with me. So this kind of falls into place. The puzzle pieces fit, as it were. The edges are meeting just right.
Mhm.
Mm.
I love that you
Uh,
said puzzle because it feels like I've told Ahmad this, I don't know how many times. It feels like I scattered a million piece puzzle across eternity that I've been picking up pieces along the way. And it feels like until they snap in, until I know where they fit. So exactly what you just said, Adrian. Yeah.
And, and let me tell you why it made sense because Adrian has seen himself. You've shared it in the podcast, right? So I could share it, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. Adrian has seen himself in a conference like
Hmm.
in the cosmos or something, right? Like wherever that may be. So I
Hmm.
know that whether he will be aware of it, he will be aware of it, right? His higher self will be aware of it regardless. So it made sense to me. Debbie, we've been connected. Like, I don't know if you did you share already, like how we were connected in this, and maybe if you want to share that vision, maybe it'll mean Adrian or Lupita might be able to get something from it because that experience that you
Mm.
had with me and you. Or first, if you want to say how this is resonating for you.
Yeah, well, yeah, I can do both. So first, hearing kind of how that vision came to you today, it definitely like on a deeper level, I could feel it. Like it doesn't logically make sense or like to the version of myself sitting here, because again, I came in as the same way of like, what's the plan? What are we doing? But I knew to just be here. But on a deeper level, all of that like really resonated. And that yeah, it landed. How we met, it was because I had a dream. And at that time, I wasn't really talking to a lot of people about like the spiritual gifts I have, or like I think I was just starting to tune into it, but I wasn't around anybody else who was like helping to foster or enable it. And so I was keeping a lot of it to myself. And then I had this dream, and I was like, something about this feels like I need to share it. And I didn't really know how or in what way, but I ended up just, I think I posted it on my Instagram or something like that, and something told me to like Google like what was the significance of it, and it had to do with like this being. There was a, I would say like a intergalactic, or like what we would term alien, like something that was not from this world that we know. And it had come down. It was like a tall, slender, probably male as we would put it, but could be different from a different realm or perspective. but he was talking to me, but it was all telepathy. We were not moving our mouths. I was like taking it in, and I'm standing there, and he was giving me all this information, and I wanted to run back into my house and like share all of it with my family, but he was telling me basically like no, like like they're not going to understand, they're not going to get it. And then he pointed over, and there was like a field and a sky, and this was happening right outside of my house in the dream. He pointed to the sky, and there's like a field, and it was like these what would look like hot air balloons like coming down. And he was like, it's time, like they're here. So it was, to me at the time, I didn't know what to make of that, but after reaching out to Omar, because I ended up Googling this and I found a video of his on YouTube, and I was like, hey, I had a dream and you said something that kind of connected to my dream. Can I send you my dream? And so I sent him the video that I happened to post that day. And that's how we connected. But so looking back on it, to me, the balloons coming down was more of like, you're going to meet more like-minded people. There are more people that are going to understand and want to hear what you have to say. And not that my family didn't, but they were not going to understand. And I was still trying to find people that would meet me or get where I was. Yeah.
That's powerful.
Yes.
Yeah. How do you feel about the "It Is Time"? Because I think that's the video I had made. I said that it was a
Uh-huh.
huge condor came flying, and
hmm
boom. And I was telling a friend, I was like, "Hey, they're here. It's time. It's time."
hmm
So the same. And then I guess that's what she Googled, and
hmm
then we connected that way.
hmm
I've been getting a pressing of it's time, it's time. I've been getting that also. How about you, Adrian?
There's a sense of, for me with my journey, it's been a lot about spirit animals and um, more of like a shamanic
Hmm.
introduction to how I'm walking my path. And that's not how I was raised. But what I'm getting to is
Hmm.
when you think about animals and how they live, animals really only make noise when they need to. And so most of their path is quiet. And it's not just what you say and when you say it, but it's also to whom you're saying it to. And so, like Debbie, with what you were just saying about wanting to share it with your family, but it not really being time, it's like, so you just have to walk your path quietly until it's time for you to make noise because you don't want to attract anything predatory and you don't want to deter anything that you're walking towards. You want to be able to walk up to the moment and meet it the way it's supposed to. So that's how it feels. It feels like I'm on my path, and most of it's been quiet, most of it's been solitary. But then
Hmm.
there's times you kind of cross paths with other people, and whether it's a sing song of a bird or it's a purr of a predatory cat, that kind of thing. Like now's the time for us to kind of come together and be what we're supposed to be and continue on with whatever's supposed to happen moving forward. I'm finding it all out as it goes along, so it's exciting.
Hmm. What it feels to me is that, like, the best way I can describe it is that we seated ourselves within this time, that regardless of where we are located, that there's this pulling and a calling of the elements of our experiences, of the celestial, of the animals, of nature, and like we are finding each other, like, and even though we are outside of our families, and my family too, not able to fully understand, and also wanting to find my tribe and people who understand and resonate, and still thinking that, okay, I'm crazy, but I'm not crazy. And all of those things, that we would find each other. So like it's such a divinely orchestrated, synchronistic way. So yeah, it's pretty amazing. I look forward to it's going to come. But I'm going to plug in my computer so it doesn't die. Give me a sec.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah, and when she comes back, if you want to also share about the seashell experience that you had, Debbie, and then
Yes.
we'll see. But let me share this because you guys just reminded me, guys and gals, reminded me of something else. It was almost like I was being told, they do everything in secret, right? We're gonna have this out in the open where everyone could see. And you know, before the pandemic, you know, it was clear that I was astral traveling, right? And my brother took me, right? The one that is on the other side, right? He took me, and I was there watching everything. And their words were slipping up and all that, right? And so when people started calling this thing the pandemic, it made sense to me. It resonated true because I saw it, right? I saw this secret meeting in this all these government officials and people of high authority or whatever that, or whatever the so-called high authority that they feel that they have in this secret meeting, right? So I feel like that. I'm okay, right? I don't need to hide nothing. But again, if anyone ever feels uncomfortable, I don't mind saying everything out in the open, because I know that that's part of my purpose being here, right? And my heart just felt refreshed as I said that. So
Mm,
yeah,
mhm.
out of
Okay.
there, huh?
I said, okay, that's good.
Yeah,
Hmm.
one
In
of
the
those
light of
things, but
truth,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. Hmm.
So yeah. So I've been curious about Debbie had this one vision, and let's see if you all get something from it, because I found it very interesting. Right? You
Mhm.
want to share it or?
Yeah. Yes,
Okay.
I'm ready. So it was a dream also, and this was around the time something was going on in California or like LA area, I think. Is it Palisades? How do you say it?
Oh,
Is it
when was it
Palisades?
during the fires, Pacific Palisades, or
Might have been. I'm trying to remember now
oh,
how
San
long ago this
Pedro,
was.
or I think it was just when you were
Mm, I
visiting,
think
right?
that's
When you
what
were
it was, maybe. But so it was not this past summer, but the summer before that, I think, is when I had the dream. And um it was underground, and Omar and I were there together, and we were at this, I mean, we're underground. It was like a cave. And then we're at this kind of like stone or like very cement looking, like I think I was trying to tell you earlier. I have this coaster, and it's like very cement
Oh, yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
so it's like that. So it was like a table there, and we were working together. We were trying to put some type of puzzle or something together. It was like these pieces, something like that was like chipped apart, and we're trying to like figure it out. And as we're doing it, something like I don't know, I don't remember now because it's been so long now, if we figured it out, if we got the puzzle done, or if we were still in the middle of it. But then there was another moment in the dream. We were still in the same spot, and there was a box. And I think, Omar, you might have found the box. You opened the box, and there were two pieces. They were like shell-like, and they looked like jewelry. And he took one, I took one. And then he looked at them, and he was like, "Oh no, let's switch." And I said, "Okay." So we switched, and as soon as we switched, in front of us, what seemed like a projector, or maybe we were both mentally having the same vision. There was a cliff, and it just went down into the water. And then I looked at him, and I was like, "Did we do that?" And then, and then that's really all I remember from the dream.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is I actually have this shell. I was showing it to Omar. There's this try to take it off to show you guys on the camera, but it made me think because we were talking about this dream again recently, and something told me to go in this green box that I have, where I have like random jewelry pieces and stuff. So my parents had brought this back. I don't know if you can see.
Oh,
You can
yeah.
kind of see a shell like image, and then on the back it's like that. I forgot the name. I sent it to you, Omar. I forgot what the name of it is. But we looked up where you would find something like this, and it said something like Madagascar or somewhere else. But so I just started to wear it again. I hadn't actually worn it ever. I just had it, but something told me to start putting it on. And I think it said the stone itself, I think, could be like protective or something like that. So I was like, I'll just start wearing it. Um, but it's funny because I think my sister has another one, and I don't know if she still has it. But so it's interesting that there's two. And then in the dream, you and I had this, we had each of them, and then we like switched, and they look kind of similar, but it was more shell-like. It wasn't like this is the imprinting of something. In the dream, it was like the actual shell or something.
Does it
Yeah.
have a spiral in it, Debbie?
Yes. Uh-huh.
It's
Yeah.
an
And I think
ammonite.
it's
An
Ammonite?
ammonite. Ammonite. So those are ancient. They're like squid.
Mhm.
And it like they have a spiral. Those
Yeah,
are
that's what
those
it
are
said.
really, really powerful. So an ammonite.
Mm.
Uh-huh.
So this is what I got, and maybe you let's see if anyone. But when she told me that, what I saw, it was almost like, because you can't find them like in Madagascar, right?
Mm.
And I got that maybe there was a piece of land connecting Madagascar to land, because it's about 200 miles, right? I don't know, right? We have those stories
Mm.
of And I felt like when that land that fell, we made what used to connect the land there, we made it fall, collapse for some reason. Tell me if that sounds true
Yeah, I
or
mean, it definitely in the dream, I knew we did it, but it was like my mind couldn't wrap my head around it. So I looked at you, I was like, did we do that? But like I already knew there was something like yeah, we did it, but I don't know maybe what the significance or purpose of it
Can
was.
I give you my interpretation of your dream for you guys?
Yes,
absolutely,
please.
please.
Okay, so because it's so vivid, not a dream. You're
Mm,
literally so where our souls, our consciousness is not in our body and it traverses all time, all space. And like those of us that are here that are awakened in this way, that feel some push and need to like help humanity through this shift, is like we were here on the planet in pre-ancient times, ancient Omar, okay? Omar
mm.
the ancient, okay? Well, like that comes from a reason. When I say like you guys all feel familiar to me, like there's an energy that we've had in previous times. And so regardless of what, like we've had more than just this one singular incarnation. And I literally see you guys the way like my as you're describing it, Debbie, I can see all the imagery. I can even see the way you guys are dressed. It looks like it's like very like in a nature place, but also it's very technological. I can see like all this technology that you guys are working
Yeah.
with. And like those are the energies that created the earth. Like the earth was created to be able to host us that carry this most special thing inside. And we have memory. That's not memory, it's happening simultaneously. So your consciousness pops out and goes into this other dimension. So you are an astral traveler in your dreams, Debbie. These are more than just dreams. You're literally connecting in the astral plane and then even connecting with past lives. And so if you're like there's this familiarity with this Omar and that this whole series of events that brought you guys again together, like that you've had experiences in the past of where you guys were part of that ancient group of celestial beings on the planet trying to create the earth and in humans to be able to have this kind of life on Earth. So it's a form of like terraforming. So you guys literally like created all kinds of aurores on the planet. No, no, but seriously, like really at a time of Earth and the species and its creation, and an early time, like ancient, pre-Atlantean, pre-Lumerian. It goes back
Mhm.
300,000 years ago, even million years ago. It's a lot. It's pretty
Mm.
Yeah.
profound, actually.
Yeah.
How does that feel
Yeah.
for you?
I resonate for some reason with a lot of like underworld, like I'm
Mhm.
not underworld, underwater. Like I don't
Mhm.
know, something about living underwater. And so to
Mhm.
me, hearing or like seeing this cliff fall, I don't know, to me it almost signaled like it wasn't like we ended something or broke something. It was almost
Mhm.
like you said, created.
Created.
Like it almost
Mhm.
seems like something was then it disappeared from one realm, but it's like it
Mhm.
went elsewhere. And
Mhm.
so that's kind of what I'm picking up. Yeah. But I'm curious too if you what your insight might be on the the shell or whatever that piece is, and then why we switched or why maybe Omar, and I don't know if Omar, you feel any reason for that, but the switch.
Mhm.
No, but you asked me that before. That's why it's funny. You're like, why did we
Mhm.
switch? Why did we
Well,
switch? Go ahead,
Adrian,
Adrian.
go
You were gonna
ahead.
say?
Sorry.
Mhm.
Imagery plays through when, for me, it's not as much as sensation, but it's imagery. And so while you're
Mhm.
explaining it, it's telling a story with how I'm interpreting it. And so
Mhm.
in my experience as being a really visionary experiencer in the dreamscape, if you ever come through in a moment in this reality, you have a relic that echoes what you experienced in vision, you're energetically tied to it. While you were explaining it to me, the switching, it's like saying, no, 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 we have the wrong end of the needle. And
Mhm.
so because it's anchored to you, Debbie, and you have the shell, even though Omar was in the vision and it's representative, I saw it as you guys moving the energy and taking that vision that existed in one plane of existence, bringing it to this one, and then stitching them together. And so you have that shell carries the energy of that moment. And you're supposed to carry it with you for whatever reasons that is only going to be known to you. But I saw it as a stitching where you're bringing 2 points of reality together that normally wouldn't. And so they would want to come apart. But the divine is saying, no, we're going to stitch this moment to you, and the two of you are going to be anchored to this moment for whatever reasons energetically. And so that shell is bound with the energy of that vision. And so the fact that you decided to carry it and wear it with you, you're carrying that moment with you energetically. You're dragging it with you, almost like flying a kite. Like it's attached to something, and it's there, and you're here. And just by carrying it and holding it, it's keeping its momentum. It's staying up where it's supposed to, and you're only holding on to it. It follows the wills of the wind and whatever elemental is going to touch it. So it's very sacred. It's very simple. And I feel like you're going to be drawing meaning from it down the road as how those things kind of play out. And so it was meant to get your attention. You're meant to carry the memory, and you're meant to share it. Here we are. Sorry. Go ahead. That's what I got.
No,
I
no,
think that's
sorry.
amazing.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay, so an
It's something
ammonite
to click on.
is like it's an ancient fossil of a creature, right? Of those ancient times. So we're talking like you being on the planet at a time where the earth is being created and you're literally designing, like working with water elements, moving mountains, like opening up cliffs and doing different things. And exactly what Adrian said is like literally connecting and sharing an energy that because we're in a world of duality. So I don't know if in that lifetime too, it was still like in a feminine body and a masculine body, gendered. That so it requires both of those energies and then to have that exchange. And I'm even seeing that we ourselves have seeded relics within time that are tangible, that have such significant meaning to us, that we have planted them so that when we come across them, they hold all of that vibration. Exactly what Adrian just said, that it tethers and it actually holds us from that ancient time, that holds that energy vibration. It's infused, it has memory. Like everything has a living life force energy. So that fossil is holding all of that vibration and bringing it forth into this realm. And where you and Omar have had, multiple discussions of where like you're bringing a lot of this, as Adrian said, into the world because it's meant to be shared. So something very ancient, then awakening that inner soul peace through this relic that you carry that's infused with the energy, and that we ourselves seeded this through time. Like I have objects that I've come through the course of my shamanic experiences of where they're like, oh my God, this is so meaningful that literally, exactly as Adrian said, loops us in time so that we awaken that part, so that we will remember ourselves as we step forward and share the ancient wisdom as it applies today. So,
Yep.
You know what I got? That's funny because that makes sense. It's like, so that's mine then, Debbie. Now it's like, almost like, yeah, what better way? Hey, this is how we're gonna find each other in that life, right? So the way we're all, connecting, like, hey, this one's mine, I'm gonna have yours. So when, and I remember, I actually had some kind of seashell thing. I don't know where it's at. That's so funny. But it was it was a lighter color though. I don't know. I know I had it at one point though, so that's pretty funny, this whole thing. So that makes sense, right? We leave
well, the
ourselves
strange
clues.
thing is, I was going to decide of like, okay, which necklace did I want to wear? The decisions we have to make, right? So this one's a sapphire, but it was either this piece or I was actually going to grab a shell. So a necklace that had a piece of a shell at the bottom. So not a fossilized one like yours, but just a shell. And I knew it was significant, but I chose instead to still wear this one. But yeah, it doesn't surprise me.
I,
Interesting.
yeah. There was something else that came through. There is something because if the mood feels more light and fluffy right now, so I don't mean to bring it down, but um, around the eclipse, actually, well, I didn't take it in that way, right? I took it as because yeah, it felt like a very angelic voice, and they told me it's time for war, and I was like, okay, I've never heard that before, just that like blunt, right? And all my years, I've never heard something literally. And during that time, it even felt like that. Like I heard something and it almost sounded like it was something negative. But then I was like, it felt like Archangel Michael. And then I was like, was that you? And no, it was almost like something came in and was faking to be him, but then he stepped through or something. So it was weird, but almost like to show me how deep this, but that, right? Like spiritual warfare or, in a more strategic way. How if, like that, to stop not just talking about it, but doing it, right? Like even like what we're doing now, we're actually doing it now. Now we're not just behind the scenes saying we're gonna share information with people. We're actually doing it, right? So what do you get with that? To be told very bluntly, right? It's time for war, and I get that war doesn't just have to mean violence. It's like this, you know.
Somebody's knocking on my door. Just give me 1 second. I'm so sorry.
No, no, you're good. That almost goes with that for some
Yeah.
reason,
Interesting time to have an interruption, right?
right?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So has anything else been coming through, Debbie or Adrian?
Hmm. I don't think anything war related on my end or anything that would signify that, but I'm trying to think.
Well, I don't see it as in like it's like that. Like spiritual war doesn't mean just violence or whatever, right? There's like that to have something. Imagine where I didn't even think that was possible, right? I didn't think anything could step in and make me think real quick that it's an angel, and then it wasn't, right? But I knew because it's something negative. That's why I even asked. I knew to ask. And there's this one medicine woman, an elder that has repeatedly said that. And maybe I had to experience it to really understand when she repeatedly said that, right? She was repeatedly saying that. Always ask, are you like of the see, I don't even remember. She said like of the
Of the
light,
light
right?
or something?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But she said she phrased it a certain way. Always ask. And so this time I actually was asking, right? But I think I was being more direct. Like I knew who it was trying to act like it was, right? So like, are you? You're not Archangel Michael, are you? Are you? And then I heard a voice step in and say, no, that wasn't, right? So I was like, oh wow, okay. So I think that's kind of what it represents as well. Like the deception is growing. I mean, that's one thing, right? It always reflects, like you said, right? It reflected, Adrian, like you said. Not only did she have the vision of it, but she in this reality, she has an actual physical representation of what she experienced. So the same, we see it. Look at how much artificial, just the way like on that in that realm, I could be something's trying to trick. Well, look at what we have now, the AI, the we don't even know if food, right? Like I saw this whole documentary where in China they make the fake eggs and fake this and fake that. So maybe
Mhm.
that's something that's being reflective. Oh, is everything good, Lupita?
Well, it's crazy. There was a sheriff from our local county, and they were looking for somebody to deliver a summons. And so, what does that tell you?
Wow.
They were being summoned. Yeah, but yeah, that's why it freaked me out. They knocked and pounded and rang the doorbell, so you probably saw my expression, but that's what it was.
They wanted you to deliver a summons?
No, no, no. He was here to deliver a summons, probably to a previous tenant from the townhouse that I'm
Oh.
renting.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So I was like, I can
Mm.
show you my ID. And he's like, no, I believe you. He's like, how do you spell your name? I'm like, luckily it's unique enough that, yeah.
Wow.
So,
Taco.
Wow.
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow.
But somebody knocking on the door, summoning. Mhm.
Hmm.
Mm.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about that? About the
I think it's
that?
twofold. One, I think that we are being summoned to a higher purpose to stop being afraid,
Mm.
answer the door, that
Mm.
whatever's on the other side, it's not scary. And as long as I know who I am, I don't have to worry about it because who he's looking for is not me. So what
Mm.
they're looking for is not me. I am not going to be hooked into a system that they're like trying to summon and hook us into. No, thank you. I know who I
Mm.
am. I can
Wow.
stand strong in that. And so, and I also take it for like rise up, we're being called and summoned up, to share.
Mm.
And it's finally time. I think yeah, people are finally ready to hear the crazier stuff that we need to share that
Mhm.
happens in these other realms.
Mm.
Day to day.
Mhm.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, that was deep. That is crazy, and especially
Yeah.
now on a Sunday, I don't,
Oh, that's right.
yeah,
Right. On
Wow.
a
uh-huh,
Sunday.
on a Sunday. Yeah.
Whew.
Mm. Yeah.
So who knows?
Yeah.
That
So
was
how's every?
intense.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So how's there, everyone? Don't be if there's anything coming through that you want to share, by all means, right? If not, yeah, I don't want to keep everyone here if
Well, I think going back to like I don't I'm sorry that I missed that last part of the conversation. I don't want to repeat if this is where you guys have already gone, but going back to like not being afraid of having that false Archangel Michael. So like the fallen angels, I would take that as. And then the true Mikael, okay, the EL extension is means of God. So
mm,
like Gabriel, like Raphael, okay, Daniel, all of those mean of God. So the EL extension. So if there's these two energies on the planet right now, and one of them is a false illusion, and they're trying to present themselves, but I also see that it is not only a spiritual war, but if we think of what that is, what does that mean? Like our energy and where our attention goes is where our energy flows, right? So if we're hooked into distraction and all of this other craziness that's happening, it's taking us further and further and further away from the one place that it actually exists, which is inside. So that inner realm, that inner vision, that inner world, and that's what we're meant to connect to, where everything outside is calling us outside, pounding on the door, trying to get in, right? And so if it's that spiritual war, how does that get fought, right? And it really has to do with like our own internal state, because heaven isn't a place that we go, and hell is not a place that we go. Those are states of our own being. And so, like, people are living in one way and living in another. And what it really depends on is where we're giving our energy and our attention and our thoughts. So, like, that's what I really feel this realm is about, is coming into our own awareness, doing our own inner work, connecting with the spirit realms, learning about animal and essence and energies, learning how to read nature and the signs, and being reconnected into something that is beyond this false world that is being broadcast at us. And I think that that's what is like what the battle is right now. I think it's at its all-time high, where people are really being pulled in, especially into fear. And so the thing is, we have to understand that the earth has her natural rhythm. These are things that the Maya knew, that there is a natural rhythm. The things that are happening on the planet have happened before, that there's always a forecasting that can either help us through it and can even hopefully alleviate or prevent some of it, but it's their natural rhythms and cycles. And if we anchor into distraction, we're going to feel anxious, distracted, disconnected, depressed, all of those energies, fearful, doubtful. And that's what this other, the battle is about. It's that energy, or we start to connect to being outside, going in nature, seeing the signs, seeing the messages, like learning. Like I love Adrian, like you so easily like are able to talk about the essences of nature and the animal spirits in your experience, because you're sharing a whole world of the elemental that people are so disconnected to. And so you speak a language of nature that the majority of people are missing. And I think that we connect to that here, and you do it in such a beautiful, pronounced way. It's one of your heightened gifts. We each have our gift in that way, but that happens to be yours. And so I love that you're sharing that. So that's what I think that this battle is really about. Inside or outside, internal or external. I can't change the world outside, but I can certainly change it in here. And if every single person took that kind of responsibility, this world would be different. Hmm.
absolutely. No, and when you talked about that, that makes perfect sense because, you know, it feels like that, right? It keeps feeling like they're turning it up. And, like I mentioned to Debbie because it just blew my mind, right? Like there was a video. I don't know how many of you are familiar with Cardi B. You're familiar with Cardi B, right, Adrian? Oh, everybody, yeah. So there's this video circulating of her performing at a concert, and where she starts like masturbating, like while she's performing, right? And then if you look at it, how does that even make any sense? Here's this woman that's a super millionaire, right? I don't know how, like probably close to a billionaire even, to be performing like she's this ratchet, low class. Like there's no need for this woman in this position of such influence and like you know what I mean? I get it if people are growing up like that and this and that, but at some point, what will make someone that in a position that's so influential still act like that unless it's part of something bigger,
Well, I
right?
think you just said it. She's influential. And if she's behaving in a way, in a public way, that is like imprinting an energy on the masses who are watching, like my first language is imagery too. So it's imagery with sensation, and it's a distortion of a very sacred energy. The
Mm,
most sacred energy that could be created on this planet is from that place of intimacy and of our own function of our own sensuality and sexuality. That is one of the greatest distortions on this planet that lowers it an energy into a realm that is it deters us from our divinity because it's sacred. So if it's not if it is being portrayed in an unsacred way, then it is being defiled. And so
mm,
that's like literally a soul imprint. And then think about all the young minds out there that are watching this, normalizing it, and then thinking that that's the way that it is. And when we don't understand our own sanctity, our own divinity, that what we carry is precious and sacred and to be honored, and instead of portrayed in its opposite, that but it serves a purpose, serves
mm.
an agenda because of influence. That's my opinion.
Yeah, yeah, no, no. Like I said to Debbie, even before when she was becoming popular, she even said something that resonated with me, and I was like, I didn't even know who she was. I was like, I like this person. Like, so there's choices, right? I think all of us have a choice at some point, like how we want to continue walking on this path, right? And I think at first, yeah, she was I felt like she was saying powerful things. Even that anybody, right? Even here's this person that was very open about having been a stripper and this and that, but yet there was this empowering thing about her, right? But after this last thing that I just saw was like, I don't know, it's just weird. It's almost like how can you even is she in her right mind like to do like and if she is then yeah, it's a very conscious choice, right? But I feel like that's part of the thing how like to even how do we know if these are the real people, right? How do we even know that now? Like everything's becoming so like this Jim Carrey situation, right? I don't feel it even in my soul that that's Jim Carrey, like because he came out right and it doesn't look like him at all, and they're trying to push no, that's Jim Carrey. But even in my soul, it doesn't feel that it is him. You know what I mean? Like something about just looking at this character that's like, oh, this is, it's really interesting. I don't know how if you any of you have any feedback on that.
I missed the whole Jim Carrey thing. I'm not up to date on that.
Oh, do you know about it, Adrian, or no? Yeah.
Yeah, so he made an appearance after what almost like a year, 8 months or so from his last appearance, and he looked very different from what the public had seen of him. His face looked like it was Botox injected. His speech and his mannerisms were a little bit awkward. Um, and I think his eye color was a little bit different too. And so it raised into question what people were seeing. And so there's a little bit of some, whether it's intentional or not, now the internet is stepping in and people are taking credit for having impersonated him on purpose and
Mm.
that he had set this all up and that it's some promotion for a movie. I don't know. The moment I heard about it, and I'm glad that I did, I kind of just said, I have no control over it, and there's enough manipulation going on right now. I don't know if I want to carry this energy around. It's interesting that it happened. But then I was like, who knows what's going on? We'll see how it unfolds later on. But yeah, I heard about it. It's interesting. It's an interesting thought experiment. If it's something that Jim Carrey orchestrated and he hired an impersonator to do this, and it's a promo for a movie, it's brilliant because he's teaching us a lesson in perception versus reality and expectation and how you can subvert it. And then it also calls into question kind of how we're being played now. Talk about not being tested, but being called to make sure that your tools of consciousness that you're taking care of them because you're being called upon to use them, whether it's observing, being compassionate, and then self-care and grounding, like whatever that looks like for us, make sure that you got it in your back pocket and you're ready to use it and that you trust it. Because stuff like this happens and you go, oh, what's going on? No clue, but I got stuff that I got to take care of. But the reality around us is getting a little bit distorted, whether we like it or not. And it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I think you said it best, is that the reality around us is getting distorted. And it just feels like we can go so, like, I can peel this onion that never ever ever ends, like, of conspiracy because of all of this out there. But you're absolutely right that coming right back to what is it that we ourselves are giving our attention to. There's this whole craziness out there that are hooking us and taking us away from that. And then, like you said, shake it off, go about our day, and then just try to be the best version of ourselves that we can be. Yeah, but there's a lot of really crazy things that are happening out there. And it's like yeah, we can go into all kinds of deep dives into conspiracy and all of these other things, and everything that can exist does exist, and we're watching it as observers. And I think that that's the most important thing to be able to be in a position of, is to observe, and then from there be able to discern, like, this doesn't resonate, this doesn't feel good, okay, shake it off, let it go, keep moving on, and to try not to let it hook us. Because yeah, there's a lot of alterations of reality. And because truly, even what we see with our own physical eyes is also interpreted by the brain. So if we're being told, with all these bombardments of things that are being flashed at us, it's like we're being told what to think. We no longer think for ourselves. And then there's crazy stuff like this that happens that, yeah, what is our perception? I don't know.
If you engage that energy without checking it, for me in the visionary space, it's like giving something light. Omar, you were kind of talking about, how you throw something at light or you give something light to make sure it's true.
Mhm.
I get tested like that enough in vision, enough to know, like, whoa, we're having to do that here now. Like, I got to give this moment light because I can't trust it. And the more that you question it and engage it, you're not really going to get anywhere with it. And so you have to choose how you're going to give your energy to that. Otherwise, you're going to exhaust yourself. Um, at least if it's like, that's what it's like for me. Like, so when I'm met with trickster energy or these entities that are in this liminal space or in the void, and you're trying to determine, am I being manipulated, or is this something that's of true divination? That's something that's spiritual and is positive. Um, the more you question it and you play its game, you'll be stuck in that loop forever. But the moment you stop and say, we'll do this a little different, let me give you some love and light and see what you do with that. And most of the time it goes away. And so it's trying to figure out how to do that here while we're embodied, and it's not as easy to give something love and light. And so that whole Jim Carrey nonsense and the whole manipulation, it's like, well, let me give that love and light because I can't control it. It's going to do what it's going to do. It'll either stop or keep going, but I have to determine whether or not I want to engage. And if so, what am I giving of myself? And, so I can keep questioning it, and we can do this entire episode talking just about conspiracy on that. Or we can acknowledge that it's happening and that there's manipulation on any level, whether it's meant for good or bad. We don't know what the end result of that's supposed to be, but clearly someone's manipulating us. And how do
Yeah.
we feel about it, kind of thing, and then explore and move on.
Yeah. No, I think one of the things that came up was and maybe it's both, right? I mean, yeah, like there's so many layers to it. Because on the other flip side, it's like they're trying to show, not trying to, they are showing how right before this strange disappearance of Jim Carrey, he was starting to speak up, right? Hey, there's pedophiles in Hollywood. There's this, there's that, right? He was speaking up. Then all of a sudden he disappears. Now here's this new person. So it could be them at the same time doing this to show and allowing for the conspiracy to go, so that way they could show very, very boldly, hey, yeah, when you speak up, we make you disappear, and then we'll put a clone, right? We'll put a fake person, no problem. And it doesn't matter, because if people start a conspiracy, that helps us too. It's still helping whatever get attention, right, in that way. So that's kind of the other layer that I was seeing to it. Okay, so But, like for me, I'm not afraid of that, right? Of that kind of thing. So that was the other layer to it, right? But would I lose any sleep over it? Of course not, right? But yeah, yeah, I couldn't help it because it was on my YouTube feed anyways,
Yeah, it's
right?
everywhere. It's
Yeah,
everywhere.
yeah. So yeah, that's the other layer to it.
And I like what Adrian said just a second ago, that there is a prayer that I would say is that in God's light of truth, nothing is hidden and everything is revealed.
Mm,
So if you just send it some light, send it some love, and then the light of truth upon it, that it'll reveal itself or scatter. Yeah. So it really it goes back to that. What are we going to give our energy and attention to? And so like something that fleeting, flying by, just being like, huh, okay, and then keep going. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
absolutely, that makes sense. Yeah. Do you want to add anything, Debbie? Or
No, I'm taking all this in. I didn't know about the Jim Carrey thing, but now I'm a little intrigued. But
no,
yeah.
no. Well, yeah, that's not our because then right. We don't want everybody to then get stuck on the Jim Carrey.
It's just so bizarre.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It
Well, and it's
is.
interesting because I didn't know about it, but again, a picture that literally flashed past, and I was like, huh. And it was literally that. And I just kept going.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
now that I'm hearing it, I'm like, oh, okay, now I know what that was about. And
Yeah.
the instant response that I had without even looking. But now I get it.
Mm.
Well, you know why I bring it up?
Mm.
Also, a long time ago. I mean, I was probably still a teenager or very fairly young when something started already putting that in my head. How will people know it's really me? And look at
Mm.
us over 20 years later. So something was already embedding that in my head. Yeah, and even as I'm saying that, wow, oh wow, right, I'm saying this in the open, but there was already that idea of how are people really gonna know it's me?
Mhm.
Who do
Mhm.
I tell, and what specific clues do I leave for those close to me to know that's really Omar, right? So there was already that over, why was that already in my head? And now look at the times we're living in. So that's why I think that extra thing, it's to be aware, not just about the conspiracy, but to be aware because I think that is coming, right? Where they have the technology to replace
Mhm.
people, right? Outspoken people, this and that, to where, just kind of like, yeah. So that's why I don't know.
Mm. We're living in interesting times, that's for sure.
Yes.
Absolutely, yeah. So
Mm.
yeah, I don't know. How does everyone feel? Good? Do you want to keep going or we bring it to a close or anything else coming through for anyone?
I'm curious how, and this is for all three of you guys, for me, things have been, I shared with Omar, I experienced something in vision and it felt like a big shift. And it felt like the sacred space. There's a few places that I go to from time to time. And since I was a child. And so energetically, they have a theme and familiarity of what potentially is done there, why I'm there. But there's one place I still am not quite sure its purpose, but this place was shifting um, energetically. It was as if someone were to say, "Oh, we're moving Mount Everest today, so we got to get everyone off the mountain, and then everyone on the path in the way of it, we got to clear out the way because we're going to move this giant piece of earth." And so energetically, that's what this felt like. And so since then, things have been very odd for me. It feels like I have two left feet sometimes, and having to get my bearings. It may have had something to do, and I don't follow astrology that much, with the year that we're in. Is it the fire horse, I think it is, or something
Mhm.
like that?
Mhm.
And that's for you guys. I'm curious, is there anything in your sacred space or in your practice that you're finding your footing isn't as sure, or something has shifted where normally it would be this, but now it's this, and
Yes.
energetically it's a little off, and so you're having to kind of figure out how to orient yourself now? Have any of you had any of that recently?
I'll let you guys share and then I'll go after. Mm.
Were
I'll
you
let
gonna say
Debbie.
something, Omar?
Debbie, go ahead.
Well, I had shared, I think just before, I think we were still maybe in December, or no, it was early January. I think first week of January. The way I had described it was it felt like, I think the way I had put it was like I hadn't landed yet. So it felt like I was on an airplane. I could see where I was going, but I wasn't there yet. And so I felt kind of like hovering, like I was like not grounded, but like I was a little excited but also nervous of like where am I going? And it was like kind of like this in between, but for some reason I felt like I couldn't go back. Now I would say more so um I would say I have not felt as in tune like spiritually and not getting as many visions lately. So the what I'm experiencing now is more on like a 3D level, but I would say a lot of what's shifting for me is like my beliefs around myself and around life and around the people I'm interacting with. And so there is that shift where I'm having to look at something and like you mentioned being an observer, I can see something happening and I'm like, this is how I would typically respond, or this is how somebody else in my life would respond to this, but this is how I'm actually going to respond now. And I'll give an example. I actually was terminated. I hate that word. I was terminated from a job. I did not expect this. And I saw the email this past Sunday, so a week ago. I saw it just before I went to sleep. And I told myself, like, at first, when I saw the word termination notice, like, obviously my heart was like, and then I was like, no, I was like, I'm going to make this work for me. I'm going to go to bed. So I went to sleep and I was just like, I'm not going to think about it. And the next morning, I reread the email and the woman was saying, like, I could take the clients with me and transfer them to my private practice if they wanted to come. If that happens, then I actually get 100% versus the 60-40 split that I have going on with her. So technically it is a profitable exit if everybody leaves, and they all go with me. So then again, there's that other part where it's like, but what if they don't? And then I was like, nope, nope, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. For right now, they are my clients and they will be coming with me. And so, yeah, so things like that, where it's like this is how I would have responded. This is how I know other people are going to feel. Like I mentioned it to my dad and he's freaking out. And he was like, he was a retired lawyer, but he's like, look, he was like, send me the contract. I need to see, like, is this even lawful? And I was like, it's fine. It's going to be okay. And then when I showed him the email of like, I can take the clients, he's like, oh, well, actually, this works out for you. I was like, that's what I'm saying. So it's like I'm in that shift and it's things about myself. I've had a big thing about like maybe like my own like how I value myself or how I see myself and how this has played out in relationships, more so intimate relationships than friendships. But like now I'm like looking at it and I'm just like, oh my gosh, like what was I doing? Like I really did not have a good like self-concept or like, on the surface it was this way, but like deep underneath there's all this other stuff. And so now I'm like working to like excavate that and like really trying to be intentional about like what I'm doing, what I'm creating, and who I'm inviting into my life and stuff like that. So there's a big shift in that sense. Yeah.
Mm. Thanks for sharing.
How about yourself, Ahmad?
Okay, so well, what I'm feeling is I'm not really tethered to a place, right? So for me, how do I know if something's shifting where when I'm seeing all these different places at once? So to me it's like everything it's more like even just that image today. And it was crazy because literally what I saw, then the person that was guiding the meditation said those words. And I was like, what? Like that's literally um, the image, right? Of him like just sitting kind of standing guard, right? And peeking through just the hole, but knowing that I was somewhere else, right? In a jungle somewhere by a temple. Something because Adrian mentioned being in these different places. I think on the day of the eclipse, maybe I pulled into the yoga studio and parked next to a woman. I think I might have only shared this with Debbie. I parked into in the yoga studio, and I don't know why. I just asked the lady that parked next to me. We're walking towards the studio because I think I had seen her. I know she's into a little more spiritual things. I seen her at a sound bath before or something like that. And I'm, oh, did you dream anything interesting last night? And she's on, actually, I did. And she starts telling me, and I go, what? That's where I was last night in my dream. And she's like, and then she's trying to find no, I couldn't have been the same place, right? And then so she's asking me extra, and I was like, why? It looked like, oh, she's, oh no, well, mine was like this. And I was like, oh. And then after I remember, well, you know what? I remember walking through this thing and I went down like that. And then she's, oh, yeah, that's what I did. And I was like, ah. And she's like, oh, okay, next time I'm going to ask you. And, she was just, she's like, that's never happened. That never even happened like with my husband or this and that. Like, why us two that are strangers are we're in the same place in the dream, right?
Mhm.
So it was
Like
pretty,
straddling two realms.
yeah.
Yeah, and then like literally like your souls like meeting up in this other location. Okay, again, so it's time looping, time jumping. So, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No,
Did
no,
you?
go.
Okay.
That's it.
So,
Yeah, go ahead.
I do have a benefit, Adrian, of talking with a lot of people from literally all different places around the globe. And there has been an energy where people who are intuitive that are feeling that they're like something is definitely different. Something is really off that like I'm not connecting and like not grounded in that same way or like you said like two left feet or even experiencing a little bit of dizziness even. Um, there's so much that is happening with our earth at this moment, like that is so far greater than we even can begin to understand. And one of it has to do with this. There's a lot happening within the cosmos, our own solar system, where our own galaxy is like part of this, what's called the Great Attractor. We're going into a realm within the universe. It's different. We're experiencing the things on our Earth just slightly different because we're in a different area. Our sun is emitting different energy. So like these heightened neutrinos and what they call muons that are being ejected because the power of the magnitude of the sun's ejections, it is impacting the earth. There was a time when we had like there was ultraviolet light escaping into the magnetosphere of the earth. There has been major changes like in the upper atmosphere, and I'm even seeing like geologically. Like there's something happening in the core of the earth because of gravitational forces. So if you're highly attuned to nature and nature elements and the elemental realm, that you would be, because you're so attuned to that vibration and it's so entwined within your being, it's like a bird's mechanism of flying because of electromagnetism has been thrown off. So it's like I see you as a bird all of a sudden in my mind's eye, where like the electromagnetics of the earth and then like get a little, they're in flux. And so I see this inner earth process happening and then this outer massive earth thing happening. And it's because those two things are interconnected. So one is not separate from the other. We receive our energy from the sun, and there's also all these magnetic forces because of gravitational pulling and what's happening with the planets, even with 3i Atlas that has just recently come in. So our entire environment is changing, but most people are so disconnected from that vibration. They're just feeling a little off, maybe like kind of like having sleepless nights, having strange dreams, like feeling like they can't connect right. But like for you, that is so entwined into the nature realms, like you would be so heightened, like even you have a hyper attunement to that elemental realm, and so that you would be most affected by taking off your balance because things have shifted literally under your feet, like literally. And so like you're trying to find that recalibration and your own magnetic force. And one of the best ways is like to know that we have like our inner chakra within the earth and we can, do this inner attunement, but it's having, and I know I can sense that you're already like trying to work with this energy to recalibrate it in a way, but that's literally what's happening. So upper atmospherically, interterrestrially, in the inner core of the earth, there's so much. This is why it's so vital that we reconnect with nature, because when we're not, then we're missing half of our own experience, the whole reason why we're here. Hmm.
Thanks for the perspective, because I'm the opposite. I don't have a connection to people all around the world that I get to talk to about this on the regular. And so
Hmm.
I just recently had to go back from having my own small business to being at home for so many years to now being
Yeah,
back in an office and having to be in those environments again, part of a corporate world. And so these conversations are not happening. And even so, because I have to do this, there's even less time from my spiritual practice and introspection that I would normally have to tending to myself in these
right.
ways and making sure that I'm good to now it's that window of time and opportunity is even smaller. And so I was
Mhm.
really curious because this whole time I'm like, this can't have just been me. This felt so
No.
big in this space and it felt so deliberate
Yeah.
and urgent.
Oh,
I thought this has to be affecting other people. And so
yes.
this is my little window into it. So it's perfect that you were able to offer your perspective because it doesn't just come with what you do in life. Like you said, you get to talk to other people in these
Hmm.
communities and
Yeah.
you're hearing something like that.
Yeah.
Whether that's good or bad, at least I know like okay, it is as big as I thought, and I'm not the only one going through it. It just
You are not the only one. It is happening globally. And this is where I feel like we like the literally the ground is shaking beneath our feet, trying to awaken us into this. And I love that you said it's like we're straddling these two realms. We live in the system, we work in the system, we have to like there's things that we have to function within the system. Working economics, our living, our livelihood, all of those pieces. And like those are the and I thank you for sharing that. You know, it's so difficult that when we get caught up in the day-to-day living, that our spirit side is part of us that is feeling like, okay, I need attending to. And so that is the struggle. That's also one of, the things of design. I feel that this is also like a literally a moment of where like this whole earth shift and there's like validations and verifications of it. If you can give me permissions, Omar, I can share an image that I actually picked up not too long ago, um, where it was
Absolutely.
before
Let
this
me
was
let me put.
actually taken down.
Do you
Okay.
click something or do I just? How do I put it?
I'm gonna share and I'll send a request. I think you,
Okay, there we go.
okay. So I took a screenshot of an image of what I was watching on this other YouTube channel called um, Unbelievable, or and if we can see that this is a satellite that was actually passing over the Earth, okay? And you can see that there's a very distinct line right here. Okay. And so this was a satellite and actually taken, and this is a still shot, mind you. But as I took a screenshot, it was a video that was being placed over that South Atlantic Ocean on the sunrise of February 5th, 2026. Okay. So they could not take this video down fast enough because of a satellite that was passing over that literally showed this entire seam in the earth and the upper atmosphere that wasn't aligned. Okay. I've been talking about this earth split for I don't know how long. Okay. Maybe 6 years now, these two earths. And that those of us that are awakened and like in the intuitive realms, that we're here because of this new earth, that there literally are these two earths. So when you're saying that, Adrian, you have two left feet, like you're literally straddling within two realms and we have this energy. So this is in a different vision and image, I don't know if this is night vision. So we can literally see the entire split. It's it makes me think of that cliff that you guys were describing that you opened up, and that cliff opened up into like this sheer drop, and it looks like water in this imagery with this color. So this is a satellite video, and that people that, a nice serene, just looking over the horizon, just going and glancing over the earth. But this imagery was taken February 5th. And they can't take these things down fast enough because there is something happening in our earth, even in the inner earth, and then the upper atmosphere, and then even with earth itself. Like we can go so far deep into an author named Philip Dick that wrote the several different books that had to do with time and time jumping, and literally wrote the book that turned into the movie Blade Runner. That movie was literally just redone recently. And in there, he talks about time loops and how fractures of time and splitting of earth and divisions and all of these things. And now we're seeing like visual proofs of it, like and things that they try to scrub off of the web. And I will say that this three-eye atlas that has come into our environment, I invite people, whoever's watching this, to research it on their own. It's approaching, it has course corrected itself, and it has three vents that are very engineered. And it was like this object that has come into the Earth's atmosphere. It passed behind the sun. And when I did a remote viewing session, it was as though this incredible object that is ancient seeded the sun with information, where the sun emitted one of the most greatest and biggest coronal mass ejections that, again, giving us information through particles of light. And that this thing has course corrected. It has not slowed down. It has not stopped venting, and it literally altered its degrees to approach the one of the moons of Jupiter because of the electromagnetic ability. One, to recharge itself, and then two, to literally emit a signal because it is like a broadcaster, the greatest, biggest satellite to broadcast within our solar system. These things are trying to be scrubbed from the internet. That when it passed closest over the Earth on December 19th, it was actually shown to drop these massive, like, particles, not just but particles, but these objects. And it feels like they're like little micro satellites that are like even observing and capable of observing our environment. So there's higher celestial things that are happening, intergalactic things, and then as well as how we're just trying to survive as humans on Earth. Like these things are happening at levels, but we feel it, just like Adrian described. I'm feeling like I have two left feet. I don't know whether, like, and for us, like when we're in that world, not fully connected to spirit, when these higher, bigger things are happening, then we're feeling disconnected. And so the hope is that we do be able to go out in nature, do connect with ourselves, do understand that there's something higher and greater and bigger than ourselves that is happening beyond all of the small distractions on stage trying to defile us. There's so much more to who and what we are. That's all I can say.
No, no, no. That's
And
beautiful.
people
Thank
are
you
going to
for.
be like, in my time, it was just 4:20. They're going to be, yeah, what are you smoking, lady? And I'm like, I ain't
Ah.
smoking nothing.
That's funny. Yeah, yeah. That's funny. I've never really tried to tap into, and as you were saying, the three eye atlas thing, I felt like I was seeing. Yeah, like it looked like a whole spaceship kind of thing, huh? Wow, I even got a headache tapping into that. That's crazy. Cause I was even thinking like, can they see me looking at them right now? And then right now, all of a sudden, I had this like headache. That's crazy.
That's surprising.
So
So
they
at
they
some point, if there's time after this, I would like to share here, but um in the same way, like when you're like if you're sick or something and then you don't want to tell people because then people want to offer up, you want to keep it small and keep the energy manageable. And so I let Omar know of something that I had happened to me, and I sent him a picture about it. That's kind of has to do potentially with something that you're talking about now. But I'll share after if you guys stick around for a few minutes because I'm curious what you guys may get from it. Whether or not you believe it, it's fine, but I'm still trying to make sense of some of what it all means because um it's an interesting experience. And I hate to do that to the listeners, but um I would share, but like I said, I'm still trying to integrate the experience. It's too soon for me to share on a bigger scale, but on a small scale in terms of input and your perspectives, I absolutely would value whatever you guys may think about it.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds
All
good.
right.
Is there any? I mean, yeah. Does anyone want? Wow, that's crazy. That now I'm gonna try to tap more into that three eye atlas thing because now I'm gonna try to give them a headache back.
Well, let me tell you, there was a satellite that was instructed to that is highly, highly sensitive. And so we have a satellite that literally pointed a camera towards it or this sensor, okay? And at that exact moment, it emitted a signal that blinded and took this thing down. It was literally defensive, okay? But it emitted it at a signal that scientists could not deny, okay? So if a message back was going to be sent, it would be encoded within certain hertz or the vibration or the frequency of which this signal was sent, and it happened. So it's approaching that on March 16th. We're feeling things at a big, massive, higher scale, and people who are very attuned are feeling some kind of agitation and activation happening. And this is one of the reasons why. These higher frequencies that we are very sensitive to are being activated. And so, exactly like Adrian said, so may we just protect our energy, go within, try not to be pulled into the distraction, and maybe that's a good way to I will close it off.
Mm.
I'll close my own mouth and then you can close it off in the way that you want to because I talk forever.
No, no, you're good. Debbie, do you want to say anything or you're good?
No, I'm good. But I do resonate with the idea of just protecting ourselves right now. I think that that's most important and grounding, especially if there are like higher energies and these shifts going on, then we've got to figure out how do we stay in tune with what is real for us. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like Debbie does somatic work too, right? She got into and that's an interesting because when you're talking about shaking it off, right? Like I had never heard of that, like somatic, and it's sometimes we need that movement to release that
Mhm.
energy too, you know? I'm getting a visual, but I don't know how to explain it, right? I'm not like so scientifically versed, but like almost like that. Like the little electrons and everything when they get on something and they could be shaken off, right? Like that. Like that's how
Mhm.
I feel like we need to do that. So we don't get overcharged by all the things like how you said, Lupita, all the stuff that's being projected at us, whether through the sun or inside the earth and all that, right? All the things we can't see. Because even the word spiritually, right? Like when I think of spiritual, it's just science hasn't caught up, right? We don't know how to explain that, but I don't see it as, oh, this like other spiritual ghost and this and that. It's all real. It's just different dimensions, frequencies, all this and that. So whatever we got to do to protect that. Okay, so anything for you, Adrian?
Not just a word of encouragement, whether wherever you are on your spiritual journey, or even if you don't feel like you've started yet, now's a good time to um, just check yourself in terms of making sure you're good, that you at least have some sort of tool of consciousness with you, even if it's just, the things that you love, gratitude, whatever it may be. It's so important right now to tend to yourself so that we can be there for each other, because there does feel like there's a moment that's supposed to happen or a series of moments, and the closer that we get to them, at least for me, um, the stronger they feel. It's like these things are rippling back toward from the future to the present moment, and I don't know if we're navigating around it or how close, if we're veering closer to it, but with every passing day, it's gradual, but little by little, things feel a little bit more dense, a little bit more challenging, and if anything, it's just make sure that we're still there for each other and whatever that looks like, even if it's the small stuff, especially the small stuff. That's what's been shown to me from my NDEs and my spiritual awakening is it's not the big grand gestures that we make. It's a bunch of the small things, like letting someone in traffic, opening the door for someone, just smiling and waving at a person. It doesn't even have to be an exchange of money or effort. It's not about efforting. It's just about existing and being as kind as you can as often as you can to yourself and others.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I love it. And since we were talking about the spirit animals, remember you're like the little turtle, right? You have your
Mm,
house on your back and you're always protected and think it, but that one's happy. It's swimming, so you're swimming through life. Don't worry.
mm, mhm,
Nice.
What do you call it? You know what's funny is right now I'm getting that visual of like I don't know why, whether you want to call them star people or whatever, wanted to sit in on this conversation, but like it's almost like not almost like. It's what I'm getting is that they've been watching this whole conversation, and I'm sure that'll be revealed later. I think I already know why, but that's the visual I saw. Do you see that or no?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
interesting.
Protected. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you to everybody that watched. We'll definitely try to do it again. Not we'll try. I'm sure we will do it again. And thank you to Debbie, Adrian, and Lupita for joining me on this little cosmic conference. Not little. Why do I keep so cosmic conference, right? Almost like when I say these words, like instantly they like I'm feeling corrected, right? So not little cosmic conference, right?
Don't play it small, right?
Yeah, don't play exactly.
Well, I love this because I am one of the oldest in my family. But I have a younger brother and a younger sister, and both of them were taller than me because I'm tiny. I'm 5 feet. I'm gonna claim every little microscopic centimeter of it. So I'm tiny, but they would always introduce me as their little big sister. So it's our little big cosmic conference.
Agreed.
Yes, yeah,
There you
yeah,
go.
yeah, absolutely. See, it makes sense why they said La Guerrera.
Mhm.
That makes perfect sense. The
That makes
fierce,
sense.
yeah. Okay, so on that note, thank you everybody for tuning in. Let us know in the comments if you enjoyed it. Hopefully everyone got something out of it, and like I feel very guided that this is gonna continue, right? So, yeah, thank you all.
Thanks, Omar.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Life may move fast, or it may move slow. I met a silly man who said he'd make it slow. We look up out towards space, or even at the sky. One that gets away, but never look inside. Breathe in, breathe out. Life is amazing, but we'll figure this out. I mean, human beings, I ain't got no doubt. Yeah, that's right. Sometimes you just feeling it, you know what I'm saying? You just feeling it. And I want to feel this way forever.